Imagine waking up, looking out your window, and seeing a massive, glowing ribbon of light stretching across the sky. Earth has finally decided to... It looks like science fiction. But what would actually happen to our lives if we had rings like Saturn? To get rings, something big has to die. Meet the Roche limit, a gravitational death zone. If a moon gets too close to a planet, gravity literally rips it apart. Gravity pulls harder on the near side than the far side, stretching the moon until it shatters into trillions of pieces of rock and ice.
Over time, these pieces flatten out into a disk, perfectly aligned with the equator. Earth is now a ringed planet.
But the view depends on where you live. If you're at the equator, the rings would look like a thin, bright line cutting the sky in two. Move to Paris or New York, and the rings would expand into a majestic, glowing arch that never sets. At the poles, the rings would look like a distant, glowing hill on the horizon, a permanent, artificial sunrise. Nighttime would never be truly dark again. The rings would reflect so much sunlight that you could probably read a book at midnight without a lamp. But there's a catch. Rings cast shadows, massive, freezing shadows that could plunge entire countries into a permanent, artificial winter. Now, the bad news. Our modern world would collapse. Satellites live in the same space as these rings. GPS, TV, and the internet destroyed by 1 trillion tiny space rocks. We would be trapped. Launching a rocket through a ring of debris is like running through a storm of bullets. Space exploration might end forever.
What would they be made of? If they're ice, they'll be brilliantly white and bright. If they're rock, they'll be dark and eerie.
Nature would go crazy. Animals that navigate by the stars or the moon would be completely lost in this new, bright world. Photosynthesis would drop in shadowed areas, potentially leading to mass extinctions of plants and a total collapse of the food chain. So, would we trade our technology and our climate for the most beautiful view in the solar system? Humans aren't built for constant light. Sleep disorders and psychological stress would skyrocket in a world that never sleeps.
We've seen the beauty and the disaster, but there's one more thing we haven't talked about. What if the rings started falling?
This isn't science fiction. It's a real cosmic phenomenon called ring rain. Saturn is currently losing its rings because gravity and magnetic fields are pulling the material down into the planet.
For Earth, this means our beautiful rings would occasionally fire giant rocks directly at us. Constant meteor bombardments would become a normal weather forecast.
The sheer volume of dust burning up in the sky would heat up the upper atmosphere, potentially altering global wind patterns and triggering chaotic climate shifts. High-altitude flights would be restricted. Flying through micrometeorites is a suicidal mission. The interaction would distort our magnetic shield, creating massive permanent auroras, but also frying power grids. If Earth had these rings since the beginning, human culture would be entirely different. Ancient religions would have worshipped the sky arch as a literal pathway to the gods. Our architecture would evolve. Buildings would no longer have flat roofs. They would be designed as reinforced shields to deflect the occasional falling pebble from space. Twice a year, during the equinoxes, the sun would pass directly behind the rings, plunging the world into a beautiful but freezing daytime darkness that lasts for days. Think this is all pure imagination? Look at Mars. In about 30 million years, its moon Phobos will cross the Roche limit and shatter, giving Mars its very own rings. In fact, Saturn isn't special. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune all have rings right now. They are just made of dark dust and carbon, making them nearly invisible to the naked eye. But rings are just a temporary phase. Gravity always wins. Within a few million years, any ring system around Earth would completely drain away, leaving the sky empty again. Ultimately, cosmic rings are a beautiful but deadly crown. They offer a paradise for the eyes, but a living hell for global technology and climate stability.
Maybe we should appreciate our current sky a bit more. Our single, boring moon stabilizes our planet's axis without destroying our internet or dropping rocks on our heads. So, what about you? Would you trade your GPS, satellite internet, and stable climate just to have the most beautiful view in the solar system?
Tell me your honest choice in the comments below. Are you team cosmic jewelry or team working internet?
Our universe is full of impossible questions. Subscribe now to Planet of Questions, and let's keep exploring the cosmos together.